everyone, welcome back. We are going to look at gender and number agreement on the next two videos. So this is lesson 2, part 1. We're going to look at nouns, articles, gender, and number. So I'm going to cover some grammar. You're going to hear mostly English on this recording, but I'll be uploading some exercises later on where you're going to hear mostly Spanish, and we'll be able to put into practice what you're going to learn here today. So we're going to look at nouns, articles, and the concept of gender. And before we dive in, I just want you to get two things in the back of your head. One is that everything has a gender in Spanish. This doesn't apply to people and animals only, male and female, but literally every object that you can possibly think of, from a coffee cup to a cloud, even abstract concepts, they have a gender. They're either masculine or feminine. That's one thing I want you to put in the back of your head. The other thing is the concept of plural. We do have plural in Spanish as well. There are some similarities that both languages share. A quick example would be dog, dogs. You have that S at the end in English, right? Which lets you know that you're talking about more than one dog. Same thing in Spanish. Perro, perros. By the ending of the words, you know if it's plural, more than one, or singular, just one. Of course, you have words like cactus. The plural of that is cacti. It's a completely different word. We do have things like that in Spanish, but for the most part, the ending of a word is going to tell you if it's singular or plural. So keep those two things in the back of your head. We're going to define what a noun is. A noun is a word that defines people, animals, places, things, or ideas. Examples of nouns are girl, dog, beach, car, apple, right? Literally the word that you use to name anything and everything in the world. So notice that on this chart I have added the, and I've added a. The girl, a girl, the dog, a dog, the beach, a beach, the car, a car, the apple, an apple. These little words right here are called articles. Articles are essentially adjectives, and they modify nouns. They modify or tell us how specific or non-specific a noun is. So there are two types of articles, definite and indefinite. What's the difference? Well, the is more specific than a or an. If I say Anna wants to go to a beach this year for her vacation, we can deduce that Anna is open to going to any place as long as there's a beach. She's not referring to any beach in particular. This is where the indefinite or the non-specific part comes into play, right? The article right here, the indefinite article, is telling us, she doesn't really care, as long as there's a beach. If I say, though, Anna wants to go to the beach she went to last year for her vacation, we can understand that there's one specific beach to which she is referring. We don't know the name of it, but the context surrounding the sentence is probably going to tell you something like, you had a conversation with her 3 days ago about it, and she mentioned that one beach that she went to last year, right? So there's an element of more specific, definite article is used. Now, remember what I told you to keep in the back of your head as far as everything has a gender and that there are plurals? Here's a little chart and why that is important. We have here our definite articles and indefinite articles. You see 4 articles come from the when you translate into Spanish, right? And that's because the singular and the plural and the masculine and feminine play an important role. Whatever is it that you're talking about, if it's singular, then the article has to match. So definite articles in Spanish, el, los, la, las. Indefinite, non-specific, un, unos, una, unas. So based on the previous chart, let's look at these examples that we saw earlier. We have la niña, una niña, el perro, un perro, or in this case, male dog, la playa, una playa. And as you can see, in these two examples at the top, la niña, feminine noun, el perro, masculine noun. The does not change, but it changes in Spanish. So this is what I mean when I say everything has a gender. And remember, everything surrounding that one thing that you're talking about has to match. So if we were talking about more than one dog, then the article will change. It's not going to be el perro. It's going to be los perros. So we're going to look at this concept of gender, right? Which I already said, everything has a gender in Spanish. That includes non-living things. Examples on the previous slide, which were carro, manzana, those are things. English speaking brain, no gender comes to mind. In Spanish, one is masculine, one is feminine. So we're going to go over right now the rules of gender. Just some guidelines that will help you identify what's masculine and what's feminine. But before we go into that, I just want to talk about, in English, sometimes you have certain words that are specific for masculine and specific for feminine. Example would be boy, girl, niño, niña, right? Mother, father, or waiter, waitress, right? It's two different words. In Spanish, you do have a group of words like that. Hombre, mujer, man, woman, mother, father, mamá, papá. But sometimes you have the same word and you have the same thing happening in English. Like the word doctor, for example. You don't know if it's a male doctor or a female doctor. The only way that you can figure that out in English is with context. So in Spanish, although you have those words too that are the exact same one for both genders, and the article helps you, and context helps you determine if it's masculine or feminine, we also have changes to the ending that we apply in order to make it feminine. So we're going to look at gender rule number 1. Nouns that end in O are masculine, and you create the feminine by changing the O for A. Ejemplo, chico, chica, mesero, mesera, maestro, maestra, muchacho, muchacha. With those words, even if you're not saying the article, you know by the ending if it's masculine or feminine. Gender rule number 2. Nouns that end in or are masculine, and you create the feminine by adding a at the end of or. Ejemplo, el profesor, la profesora, el doctor, la doctora, el conductor, la conductora, el contador, la contadora. Same as in the rule before, if you just say the word without the article, because of the ending, you know if it's masculine and you know if it's feminine. Gender rule number 3. Some nouns have the same ending for masculine and feminine. Examples of that would be endings in e or ista. So you rely on the article or context to know if it's masculine or feminine. Ejemplos, el estudiante, la estudiante, el periodista, la periodista, el dentista, la dentista. Gender rule number 4. For non-living nouns, for the most part, if they end in the letter O, they are masculine, and if they end in the letter A, they are feminine. Ejemplo of masculine, el carro, el queso, el zapato. Feminine, la mesa, la taza, la tienda. Now, I said for the most part, right? Because there are always exceptions. Some examples of common exceptions would be la mano, el día, el mapa, el agua, el azúcar. Now, here I would have to emphasize, when you are learning vocabulary, when you're learning nouns, make sure that you memorize them with its definite article, because that will just take the doubt away, right? The article is what's going to tell you if it's masculine or feminine. Of course, you can rely on the previous rules, the ending, and all of that, but just try to get into the habit. When you're memorizing words, memorize them with a definite article. That way you start telling your brain everything has a gender. Gender rule number 5. Words that end in ción or dad are feminine. Ejemplo, la comunicación, la interrupción, la lección, la personalidad, la nacionalidad. All right, guys, I'm going to stop right here. Don't forget, the website is SpanishVenture.me, where you can find these lessons in PDF format. So make sure to check that out. And don't forget, no olvides, subscribe, like, and share this if you find it useful. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you again on part 2 of gender and number agreement. And don't forget, we are getting closer to forming full sentences. So just bear with me. We're building a foundation here. Hasta pronto!